Well, I mean, it was good for the goose. Hey, they can do it. They can do it. If they're walking around by all the
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the next edition of RRI's Residents for Rural Integrity's community meeting. Before we get started, we started this last week through a community question. So I'd like everybody to stand. We're going to open in prayer and then the pledge. So would you bow your heads for me, please? Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight not just as residents, but as neighbors, friends, and stewards of this beautiful land that you've given us, that you've entrusted us with. We thank you, Lord, for the piney woods. We thank you, Lord, for what you have entrusted us with here tonight. We ask that you watch over this meeting. Keep us strong in spirit as a community. Help us bind together here in Bush and Tally Sheep. Father, we ask for your wisdom tonight. Grant us the clarity of thought and the charity of spirit. We pray for our leaders present here tonight with us, Councilwoman Tanner, Director Liner, and her staff, that they may have eyes to see the truth of our lives here and hearts willing to listen to the people they serve. Father, I ask right now that you give us strength to stand for what is right, the patience to speak with grace, and the courage to protect the rural peace of this place that we call home. We ask right now that, Father, you let this meeting be productive, respectful, and truthful. In Jesus' name I pray. If you agree with that, say amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance. I want to correct that statement. This meeting tonight was initiated, organized, and funded by the residents in District 6. Yes. I have to say the Village of Sun graciously gave us this opportunity. We knew there was going to be no room. We could have done it at the rec center in Bush, but they got basketball games tonight. So we feverishly tried to look around and find another place. We called the churches. We called the 5th Ward. And we thought about Sun. We said we wanted to try to keep it in Bush, but just didn't work out. So we want to thank Sun, the town of Sun, for allowing us to use this facility tonight. But I want to make sure that that statement stands corrected. This meeting was initiated and organized by y'all, Village of District 6, the community of District 6.
The gentleman over there told me that
in fact, everything here tonight was done by our community involvement. We got together, our group, Residents for Rural Integrity, and we scoured to find chairs, because this place didn't have chairs. But we found some chairs. So just to make a little fun, not fun right now before we hand it over, we have some places, some people that donated the chairs. They didn't actually donate them completely. Some of them donated, some of them didn't. But just for some fun, if you're sitting in a tan chair, that's these ones up front. How many ever watch Arsenio Hall? This is the late night show. We're going to kind of place them in Arsenio Hall tonight before we turn it over. If you're sitting in a tan chair, USA Jumps donated those chairs, or gave us a real good deal on the chairs. So everybody that's sitting in a gray chair on the front, your USA Jumps for Joy group, let me hear you. Say, give me a hallelujah! All right. If you're sitting in a black chair, no, I'm sorry, I got it backwards. The black chairs are from USA Jumps. So if you're sitting in a black chair, let me hear you say, hey! No, that's not good enough. Give me a better one. Black chairs, give me a hey! Back there is the jump for joy. All right, if you're sitting in a tan chair here in the front, those were given to us at a great deal from Hillbilly Mall. So we're going to call y'all the Hillbilly Maulers. Give me a shout, Hillbilly Maulers! In the back, we have chairs that were actually donated to us from the rec center and the community center and Mr. Gary Jones. We're going to group y'all all together, and y'all are the community crew. Give me some love, community crew! All right. Well, I thank y'all for all being here, but just kind of giving a little fun roll call. Now, we want to point out one other thing right quick before we got one quick thing before we hand it over. For 7 weeks, 8 weeks, we've been having our community meetings. And we started a KVR Facebook page. We gave the community an opportunity to see what the council has presented to us in this Project 2040. It used to be 2025. So if you look at it, this was the plan, option 4, that the parish gave us. We came up with a plan here, Residents for Rural Integrity came up with. Option 1 is the plan. We don't want anything that the plan had available. Option 4 was we'll take everything that the plan had available. Option 2 said that we don't want much, but we'll take a little bit of what the plan offered. And option 3 was we don't want it all, but we'll take a lot of it. So in the voting, let me see a show of hands who voted for number 4.
Can you focus that a little bit better? What's a little bit blurry?
Sorry, the balls gotta come over.
These are the 4 plans that we gave you as a community to vote on the website.
Any better at all?
And you can, let me see a show of hands who voted for number 4. We'll take everything that the plan had to offer. Let me see a show of hands who said, we don't want it, we'll take most all of it, but not all of it. Option 3. Let me see a show of hands who said, we don't want hardly any of it, but we will take a few pieces of it. Who voted for option 2?
I'm gonna be honest.
Who here voted for option 1? We don't want anything that the plan has to offer. Yeah! That right there says a lot. I don't, it really does. So that's your mandate. You have something to look to. They voted for no town centers, no overlay, no garden homes. That's what they did. And I want to stress that this thing wasn't a me deal. We have a We have in our Residents for Rural Integrity, we have a steering committee that meets on Sundays to organize our Tuesday meetings. This isn't a steering committee decision. This was a community decision. This whole movement was for the community. It wasn't me, it wasn't Rhonda, it wasn't our steering, it was y'all. So that's why we opened it to y'all. We now have a Residents for Rural Integrity website. We have a KVR website. So that is your mandate that you'll have to deal with and see what the people want. So I hope that's what you're looking for, what we want, because that's the whole purpose of it. When we started this, I opened it up to the community because it's what the community wants. It's not what I want or anybody else. So, and lastly, take a look at the screen right here. We originally had a plan to an agenda that we had to change today. So it may not go quite, I'm just kind of giving you a little heads up, it may not go quite as smoothly as it probably would have before, but the agenda has changed a little bit compared to what we had planned. But I want, Ms. Tanner has informed us that in this new priority, in the new agenda, that she wants to prioritize the people's votes here. The questions here, what you have to say here. The original agenda had questions that we let you ask online. There was over 50 something questions. We had condensed them to 15 because some of them kind of overlapped. But and we were going to ask those, but Ms. Tanner has asked if we change that, but she wants you to ask the questions. So now I'm telling you this so they'll have some questions to ask. The burden falls on y'all. The burden falls on y'all to ask the questions. I think they have a presentation they're going to present, and then they're going to give you an opportunity to ask live questions here in the room. So, as that being said, I'm going to turn it over to them and let them do their presentation and see how. But keep in mind, you're asking questions that they have presented for you here tonight.
Excuse me, Brent. I'd like to say, please keep your questions respectful and no profanity. We've been told if there's any profanity, that person will be escorted out.
Right.
So
We went over that. So
I just wanted to make sure I didn't hear that part. Thank you.
but here we go. We'll turn it over to them, and we'll go from there. There you go.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ross Liner, Director of Planning and Development. Kind of have a sinus thing going on, so if I'm sounding a little bit like that, that doesn't sound like it. So we're going to go through a couple things on the website and put how staff interprets them. Just want to point out, we're not here for a fight. I'm not here to change your mind, because I believe that we could agree on 90% of the issues that were brought up by Keep Bush Rural on the website. It's just that maybe it wasn't conveyed in the same situation, or all the information wasn't put there. So we're going to go through that a little bit. I would point out that so on the YouTube video that's linked from the presentation that was given to the Planning and Zoning Commission, only certain segments were pointed out on the Keep Bush Rural website. So during that presentation, I gave the intro. At approximately 4 minutes and 40 seconds, I stated that Planning and Development would like to postpone for a couple of months so that we could continue working on the plan due to resident concerns. In addition, at minute 20, we have a slide that reads, revisions, preference for a decrease in intensity of uses and density within the proposed town centers. We have support for green infrastructure and larger lots. I'm sorry. And at 45 minutes, I state that we're still working and request postponement. we had 2 presentations to Planning and Zoning Commission. We had an open house where about 30 to 40 people came and expressed concerns for the town center. So we had already heard those concerns, and we're going to address those over the next couple of months. So I think we're in agreement here. Again, I'm not here to change your mind because we've heard the concerns and we are addressing them. So I'm not here to change your mind, I'm not here to fight with you because, again, probably on the same page. Once we go through our presentation, I think you'll see that staff actually, is working towards that goal. In a December 9th email to Councilwoman Cheryl Tanner, I state that, we've heard public comments on the density in the Bush and College Street town centers, and we're revising the criteria and publish new less than standards after the first. Well, it's after the first, we still haven't done. It'll probably be a few more weeks or a couple months before those are complete. We'll put those out to the public as well. So we're still working on those. In addition, I've instructed the consultants in early December, based on those 2 presentations and our open house and the residents' concerns, in early December to review the Folsom downtown Main Street area, because that sounded like more of what may be appropriate for Bush and Tallahassee. So looking for a main street at near its intersections. So give you an idea of kind of what we're looking at instead of the town centers, kind of like what goes on at Folsom around their Main Street area. So clearly we've heard the concerns and we were in agreement with them. So I guess I'll turn it on to Erin and she'll go through a couple slides. It might be 3 or 4 at the max, just to go through a couple things that I'd like to point out. Do you need me to do something with that? Go through the slide.
Hi everyone, my name is Erin Cook. I'm the Senior Planner for the Department of Planning and Development. And I'd like to just take a minute. We looked at your website. It's a great website. We were very impressed. But there were a few line items, especially within the impacts section of the website that we wanted to kind of address. There's 3 of them. The first one is the ghost zoning mechanism. This one is the most important for everyone to understand. As is currently proposed, the text change would require more public hearings. So right now, if a developer would want to utilize the town center as is currently proposed today, they would need to submit a concept plan to the Planning and Zoning Commission for review. If the Planning and Zoning Commission approved it, they would then have an approved concept plan, which would then allow them to go through the major subdivision review, which is 2 more public hearings. So there are 3 public hearings as proposed, which is more public hearings than any other development pattern within the UDC today. The concept that there's administrative approvals, that's not true. So if there's something within the proposed text change where someone can, let us know where that comes from, we're more than happy to address it and then you rework it so that it's very clear to everyone. There's the neighborhood notice. There's a 30-day public notice for public hearings. So,
Use some water?
I think I'm having the same problem more. So essentially, any development plan coming before Planning and Zoning Commission would have to be advertised 30 days prior to a public hearing 3 times. So the concept that there is no neighborhood notice is not true. The public input, again, you can speak at any meeting. So three proposed public hearings for a development to come to fruition. Thank you. The second is the density explosion. We understand, as proposed, the town center is too dense. We understand that you all don't like it. All residential property within the proposed Bush and Tallahassee town centers are zoned L1, which allows for 1 acre lot sizes. So I saw on your website it says 1 house per 5 acres, which is not how the property is zoned currently. It's L1. So we just want to set the record straight. That's how everything is zoned within the proposed town centers. The third one is the private sewer and utility tract. So as is currently written, we're saying that any new development would require public or private central utilities. These utilities are legally allowed to be placed everywhere, but approvals would require capacity verification, long-term maintenance plans, and environmental protections. Basically, they're overseen by the state. The state requires 300 feet of connection from point to point for new development. This means the state is not going to come knocking on your door and say, there is now availability for central utilities. You have to connect for existing development. That's not the way it works. The third is I'd like to address the 10 and 5, which allow for heavy commercial, mixed use, and residential use, and it is currently actively being developed.
Can you please hold the microphone a little closer?
Yeah, we have
Some of the
trouble
people in the back are, I'm hard of hearing too, so, and I'm closer than they are.
So this, if you all watch the,
Much better. Yeah, we need to move away from.
how's this? Is this better? Great.
Good.
So if you watched the last public hearing before Planning and Zoning Commission, this was a slide in our presentation to the commission, and we just wanted to reiterate a few things from this slide. So we heard that some revisions were needed, and we recommended these to the council, and we understood them, and we are currently working on them. We would like to amend the environmentally sensitive area to only apply to a portion of property mapped within the central sensitivity overlay. We would like to amend the corridor enhancement sub-area to stop at the southern leg of the proposed roundabout on Highway 434, and the environmentally sensitive sub-area to begin along the northern leg of the roundabout. We have heard and understand the preference for a decrease in intensity of uses and density within the proposed town centers, as Ross said. And we have heard support for green infrastructure and larger lot sizes. So those are things that were spoken about at the last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, and we just want to reiterate them here today.
Yeah, so, so again, sorry. We've heard the concern. Like here?
That's a high end.
All right, so yeah, we've heard the concerns. We're working on them. I don't think there's a fight here. I think we're in agreement with 90% of what y'all are thinking about. And so, I mean, Ms. Tanner, do you want to say anything? Do you want to go into questions? So try and do something without making it hum. Do better than I did.
Let me see if this will work. First of all, I want to thank y'all for being here. Second of all, I would like to thank the... Can't hear you. Oh, I'm sorry. Now can you hear me? Okay. I would like to thank the sheriff's office and the captain and the deputies for being here. They was kind of short notice, but they were very happy to attend this tonight. And the other thing I want to reiterate is when they started building Highway 3241, I asked Ross Steiner, I said, look, I don't want it to look like a Highway 190. Can you see what we could possibly do? Okay? Of course, this plan is too dense. I totally agree with you. I think there's a lot of work that has to be done if it's even accepted. Okay, this is your community. Let me make this very clear. If the people of Bush does not want a revision or to work through a revision or they want no plan, that's your call. That's not my call. You tell me what you want. Okay? This was to help in the future, 15 and 20 years down the road. Not tomorrow, not 5 years from now. It's to save your community as best we can from an overflow. Do I like this plan right now? No, and Ross knows that, and he agrees. Can we work out a plan? I don't know. If we can, then I will pull it from planning and zoning, and it will never reach the council. It's your But I ask you to listen to the revisions, see if they're okay. If you want more meetings on this, because I think it's gonna be delayed, what, 6 to 8 months now?
Something like that.
Okay,
No.
okay, I'll let Ross, okay.
Let's not.
Yeah, I'll let him handle it, okay? We're gonna delay it right now, but it's not even ready to approach the council. It's not even ready to approach the planning and zoning. We're looking at this, can it be done? Like I say, I don't know. If it can't, it can't, okay? But we're trying to do whatever we can on this. I want to protect Bush too. I was raised here. I live on Highway 40. Lived on Highway 40 all my life. Okay? It's kind of like I told them when they were doing the septic tanks. Hey boys, do y'all know how to do a septic tank in a filter bed? We do out here, but apparently the ones in Covington and Mandeville don't know how to do it. So there's things that we've got to work on and see if we can come to an agreement. If we can't, that's fine. It's your call. And I just want to make that short. Now, I'll let Ross, probably Ross and Aaron, if they have questions and all about this. And I want to say one other thing. I think a comment was made on developers. I have not talked to a developer. I have not talked to anyone. My understanding is there's no plans, no one's looking at this right now. Okay, if they are, they haven't told me. Okay? This is a plan for the future. And it's up to the rural community to decide if we can come up with a plan or if we cannot. I'm going to turn it over to Ross and Aaron for questions. Okay, I think they would be better. If I can answer them, I will.
So if anybody has a question they'd like to ask, then we're gonna line up right here. That first third meeting, they're asking about, is still on.
We're not closing. Correct?
Okay, no,
Okay, I have a question. My name's Marion Miller. I've lived out in Bush since 1988, when there were cattle farms everywhere out here. They're gone, slowly creeping in with density. We don't want it up here. But one of the questions I'd like to ask is, in the zoning plan, there was talk of an industrial area over here off of Watts Thomas Road. Are y'all aware that there are 43 injection wells in the ground back there that have been there for 40 or 50 years? Nobody knows what's in it. When the EPA is called to come and look at it, they leave. What are y'all gonna do to clean that up if you wanna build over here? You're gonna poison our aquifers? That's it.
So that if a developer comes in at any point, or the property owner of that particular piece of property, they have to work with the state and federal agencies who, monitor those issues. Right, so they would monitor the removal. That would be state and federal agencies.
Not the county. Y'all wanna build over there, you don't wanna be responsible.
I don't want to build anywhere, but an individual property owner has the right to either build on their property or request a zoning change if they're concerned to do so. As far as injection wells are concerned, that is no purview by St. Tammany Parish Planning and Development.
You know that somebody out here that lives by there is tested for acetone?
Again, that's not the purview of Planning and Development on 3241 Corridor Plan.
Hi, I'm Dennis Grantham. Glad to see you here, Ms. Cheryl. My question is, if this has been going through the Planning Commission previously, Ms. Cheryl, you said that it was something that kind of maybe popped up. I didn't catch everything you're talking about. How come you didn't come and talk to us earlier so we could kind of get an idea? You know, you can reach out to all of us. You're born and raised here just like I was. I'm a lifelong resident of Bush, 67 years. Another question is a couple of things that I have heard, and I don't know if it's true, or just catching little bits and pieces, if someone's house burns or a mobile home burns, they're not allowed to rebuild or buy another mobile home. They have to put a home in that location. I don't know if that's true. Or if they're animals per se, we have people who have smaller animals, goats, chickens, things like that. If they die off, you're not allowed to bring that back into the fold. Some of those things are just flying around that nobody's really answering. Those are a lot of the questions that I keep hearing in the background when I'm, sipping coffee somewhere.
So just for the process of what we're doing as far as the plan goes, as far as, Tanner reached out to y'all, I'll just address how typically we run planning studies. We'll do public meetings, we'll do presentations to the commission, we'll do public notices and things like that. So we got to the point where we had 2 presentations to the commission, 1 public hearing, and then it kind of blew up like this. Not in a bad way, I apologize for being organized, but we're to make sure that we have the facts from our perspective, again, being presented here tonight. So I think it's a perfect opportunity to do so. So I think it followed the process pretty normally, but it blew up in such a fashion that this is just where we are now. And again, to state what I had said earlier, we heard the concerns. We are probably in 90% agreement with whatever, the community is saying. It's just that there's no fight here. But anyway, to go to rule, so you talk about the rural overlay and the manufactured housing overlay. If this plan would have been adopted as is, which again, in the same video that was pointed out on the website that didn't include my comments of asking for a postponement and heard the concerns of the residents, then if it would have just passed as is that night, which highly unlikely, obviously, correct. Those would have gone away for sure. But because of the concerns that we heard at the open meeting and the 2 presentations, those are being, as we're rewriting the rules and regulations for a much less dense type of development pattern, be removed. So the manufactured housing, let me clarify that. The manufactured housing overlay and rural overlay would stay. So it would be removed from the proposal, but it would stay as is. Does that make sense? The manufactured housing overlay and rural overlay would stay as is currently.
If I can, let me address one of Dennis's questions, okay? Usually it goes through a process, okay? Ross and his team does, look at it, they meet with planning and zoning members, so forth, okay? I don't usually really get involved until they say, just like they came to me and said, oh, we had 80 people at this meeting. We need to back up. And I said, yes, you do, and we need to look at this. So it has to go through a process before it even gets to me. I don't really know what they're planning all the time or where they are on it. I'm glad it got to me. I think it's good that we know it. And I'll turn it over.
Hi, Ross. I'm Rhonda Silva, and I'm responsible for your video clips.
All right.
A couple things. First, in the original plan as it was written, the reason we put that out there is because, as I understood it, if the new overlays took place, they would basically remove the rural and manufactured overlays from those areas.
That would be correct.
There was also talk of moving the urban growth boundary northward to encompass this area.
That would be incorrect.
Okay.
I have been fighting that for years. I can assure you, I have had quite a lot of conversations with this man saying, don't you even try it. It's where it is for a reason, and I like where it is, and you're not moving it up.
Good.
So I can assure you of that.
Okay, now next, I want to address the base zoning here. The purpose of L1 is intended for moderate-sized lots which are served by central utility systems and other urban services. They're located in areas appropriate for urbanized single-family development and areas convenient to commercial and employment centers. We're not any of those things. Why are we not designated? I know it's because of the 1-acre lots that are proliferated around the area, but why are we not rural? Why can we not have a rural under base layer?
Well, I'll say this, in 2009, 2010, when comprehensive rezoning took place, that was the zoning that was assigned. I've been here since 2020, and those zones were put back at least since 2009, 2010. We could probably do a little research and find out what it was prior to the 2009.
It was A2. It was A2 suburban.
No, I'm saying prior to that.
Okay.
So prior to that change in 2009, 2010.
Yeah,
What
because
was it?
I've watched a lot of the planning and zoning, and they don't like zone jumping on the base layers.
Yeah.
It would provide a lot of protection for the people out here if we could get some rural zoning. I'm on 10 acres, one person on the other side of me is on 20, and the other side's 30.
Yeah.
We clearly qualify, and as of now, though, we could come and actually apply individually, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Tanner.
Let me say one thing on that. I had an incident I had an incident on Howard Berry Road.
Walk forward a little bit.
Okay. On Howard Berry Road a year or two ago, okay? And what happened, we found out. And what happened, we found out that that area was zoned at that time, I think it was A4, 4 units, and it was a overlay, a mobile home overlay, 4 units to an acre. I put a moratorium on that. I got with the people, put a moratorium, and then we went through planning and zoning and so forth, and we changed that because we had no idea that Howard O'Berry Road would have 4 units to an acre. It was zoned years ago, no one noticed it. So if there's zoning like that now, and I'll ask Ross and them or send them an email, if there's zoning out here like that now, we need to look at that and do a moratorium in those places until we could come up and change the zoning. Now, I don't like moratoriums. I like them for a short time. Moratoriums are for, you have a drainage problem. It's gonna take us 6 months to figure it out. So we're putting a moratorium so nothing can be built there, okay? So keep in mind, if we have to do something like that for some of these rural pieces that are not zoned right, we would have to put a moratorium until we could get it through, and it's what, probably 3 or 6, 8 months?
Probably right on the study. Get it to the
Right.
commission, get it to the council, get it
Right. But if I do it in a certain area, then it's my problem and it's not the individual homeowner's problem to do it, okay? You don't bear that expense. So I think one of the things we need to look at in this area is see if there's some property that has been zoned wrong for years and no one has ever said anything. And I will make a note of that and send them a note to address that area, okay?
Hi, my name is Greg Frolica. On the slide where it designated the changes around the tile sheet roundabout, I heard some confusion sitting around me and it was kind of sped through and the speaker was messed up. Can we elaborate on that language on that slide, please?
Is it Rhonda? Rhonda? Just let me turn the, Sir, before you sit down, just make sure we address your question.
Just wanted to elaborate on it.
We'll come back to yours while it's warming up.
Hi, my name is Kristen Elliott. I am a retired teacher, and I taught at the Fort. I was based there for 2 years, and I inherited this property, 2 blocks from the school. My first question is, how long did it take you to prepare this plan? How long has it been in the process of preparation?
A year and a half.
Okay. I live in Bush. The absolute first time I heard of any of this was at Christmas time at the Garden Club display at the post office. Why is that the first time you heard of it?
So, usually about the first year of a study like this, which is quite large, it's 20 mile long corridor. So it's not a small study to do at all. So about the first year's data analysis, ground truthing, things like that. So about 6 months ago is probably when we started giving presentations to the commission, we started doing outreach. So in August, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we had our first presentation to the commission. I think it was October, November, we had an open house, and then we gave another presentation to the commission in December.
How were we to be informed that you were doing all this, that you were
When
making these
we give the
presentations?
presentations when we give the presentations to the commission or have the open house. So, those are things that I'm sorry, my ears are just killing me right now.
I sympathize.
So, we publish it on our websites, we publish it on our agendas and things like that.
How were we to know?
And
Can you not send a letter? You have all of our addresses.
so we're not gonna send a letter to individual property owners unless it's within the study area itself. So, you have a good group now, so what's required by state laws, we do a little bit above and beyond that, but,
Okay, it was just shocking.
Yeah, so what good things to always go to St. Tammany Parish Government website, go to the calendar, and see what's going on that particular day. Tuesdays, first and second Tuesday of the month, is Planning and Zoning Commission. Planning and Zoning Commission first and second Tuesday of the month. As residents of St. Tammany Parish, I encourage that for everybody, because there's always something on that agenda that's going to affect somebody in this parish. That's why we have the agendas, that's why there's public meetings. So I'll encourage everybody, because I'm not going to notify every single person in St. Tammany Parish, other than here's the agenda. If it's something important to you, please show up or email me for more information.
Okay, I'm not asking you to notify all the same
That's kind of
towns.
what
It
the
would
request
have
is.
been nice if the communities who were going to be the most affected would have had some heads up. This was a shocker.
Everybody did send out 400 letters. I got one. Can we have a show of hands who here got one of the 400 letters? That's why everybody's shocked.
Yes. More letters is more I've ever done. Let's go back to the gentleman who sat down, his question. All right, so, which slide, was it this slide?
No, it's the one that was, including the commission roundabout, and it was, about, the wording said environmental, something or other. Yes.
So, don't remember your specific question, but this was a slide that was in the presentation to the Planning and Zoning Commission on December 3rd, that when we had our first presentation and our public meeting, these are the comments that we heard from the community, which included preference for a decrease in intensity of uses and density within the proposed town center. Again, this would be great to put on our website too. And support for green infrastructure and larger lot sizes. Now, I didn't catch your question based on the roundabout though.
Yeah, well, it says the roundabout
Oh,
on
this-
433, or 434,
So-
and the environmentally sensitive sub-area, and then that whole comment on the environmentally sensitive area, that's what I was hearing confusion about, what that includes, or excludes.
Yeah, so initially, if you looked at the plan as originally proposed, the environmentally sensitive sub-area started on the southern leg of the roundabout. We're proposing just to move it up to the northern leg. That way, the corridor enhancement area would encompass all of the development along the 434 roundabout.
So the 430, the
Correct.
roundabout
This
would be
has-
where?
That's correct. This has nothing to do with the town centers. But there's three. This has nothing to do with the Busher Tile Sheet town centers. That particular bullet point, and this one as well, for the most part, this word enhancement is, yes, it's in the code. It pretty much is in District 7, is it? Yes. In District 7, it has nothing to do with District 6. So, does that help? So that's why we bolded and underlined this one. We probably shouldn't even have read these two, because they didn't necessarily apply here, but this one definitely does. All right, sorry about that.
Just to clarify one other thing on that last question that probably needs to be mentioned. Again, show of hands, who got one of the 400 letters? 1, 2, 3. What? And you said, well, you're not going to send out letters to every person well, how many received a postcard from Keep Bush Rural and talking about the overlay? If a grassroots organization with zero budget can put a group of communities together, a community group together, that can do that. Because that's what they're all, that's probably the biggest issue that most people have here is that it was just blindsided. So it makes us think we're trying to do things I just heard from the people, we had a community meetings.
You're not trying to keep this.
And that's one of the biggest issues is that, so if a grassroots can send out 2,000 or 3,000, I don't know why it's perishing.
Do we all not pay taxes? Can we not get a letter? Do we not all deserve, seeing how we do pay taxes?
And if I understand this correctly, now that we are in L1, I believe this is what you said this several times in these several zoning committee, watch videos several times, that the underlying, that the UDC guidelines takes precedence over any underlying zoning, which would be L1, is that correct?
I'm not sure I followed it.
So the UDC has all this town center, which in my opinion is that you're trying to distract us with that. What we do not want are these dense suburban areas. Not the businesses so much. We don't want these 3, 4, 5, 12 houses. That's really what we are concerned with. And so if I understood you correctly, if I understood what the papers, which is very difficult to read, that even though we're in L1, which basically says 1 house per acre, that if this UDC is adopted, that those guidelines takes precedence, and you said that the underlying zoning, which is L1, does not matter, that UDC takes precedence over it.
Yeah, so there's a two-part question, I think, here. The underlying zoning classification, let's say if it's L1 for your property, what was stressed at the meeting is that we're not proposing to change the underlying zoning. So this is not going to affect the everyday property owner. If you'll still maintain all the rights that you originally had with the underlying zoning of your property. What does take precedent is if a developer were want to utilize these regulations, he would need to meet all the minimum qualifications, which is a 30-acre piece of property, and central utilities, and then he would go to the planning and zoning, he or she would go to the planning and zoning commission and request a concept plan approval. If the approval is granted, it is then when the proposed town center regulations would have kicked in.
And is that law before you, or do you, who approves that? So if somebody with 30 acres decides to put in however many houses, do we, because this was what was read, what I read, and it was said at 1659, that oversight, and you say that these 30 acres, in a general development plan proposal, you would all have oversight over that proposal, meaning the council, under these regulations and guidelines, and you also would have the authority to have them change the regulations and guidelines to an extent. So that gives you full authority over changing the guidelines that are in those 400 pages, correct?
So, That authority lies with the council, that's a legislative action. The UDC is an ordinance, the zoning is an ordinance. So monthly.
Microphone to your mouth, please.
So monthly, first Tuesday of the month, we have zoning commission. That means people are on an application to go to the zoning commission to propose a change of their zoning. That's required public hearing from the zoning commission. Because it's a legislative action, it has to go to the council for introduction and adoption.
Do we get notices for that meeting?
So the rules are changed monthly for someone's piece of property with their underlying zoning, if they choose to make an application and it's approved. So this would follow the same.
So can you, so just say this for the sake
So-
of argument, if a developer comes in.
So they actually had more public hearings, and there was no administrative approval process. Contrary to this website, it actually, and again, so we're discussing an ordinance that we brought forward to the zoning commission or the council. So again, we're not here to change your mind, I'm not here to fight you on this, because we probably agree on 90% of what y'all concerns are. So we can discuss this ordinance at length, but you'll require more public hearings, no administrative approval process. So, that's just a typical, this one would require more. If someone, again, you want to change the zoning of your property, make an
I'm
application.
not concerned with my property,
No,
I'm
I'm saying
concerned
that
with
it's
big tracks that we know
Yep.
that
So-
the development is wanting to come in with low-income housing, where there's no
So they can
plan
do that
for
today.
school, there's no plan.
They can do that today.
And you made the comment that there was a plan for a sewer treatment. Could you expound on that?
So I would say that the Department of Utilities has a plan for utilities for St. Anthony Parish. What that is,
That, you were speaking directly about this area.
correct. And I said the Department of Utilities has a plan.
What is it? I looked all over the website, you couldn't find it.
I'm not the director of the Department of Utilities, and I'm not the Department of Utilities. What
Well,
I'm
you
saying
certainly
is,
sounded like you knew the plan.
I disagree with that, because I said I do not know what the plan is, but I will get with the director of the Department of Utilities, so I know what I said.
I'm pretty sure that's not what you
There's no way I would take the purview or the authority of another department.
So so you're aware that there is a plan, but you have no idea what it is?
I'm telling you that the Department of Utilities, I'm telling you the Department of Utilities handles utilities for St.
I
Anthony Parish.
understand that. I'm asking,
There's no
do you
reason-
know what their plan is?
There's no reason for me to know.
So the answer to that is no?
There's no reason for me to know what the Department of Utilities handles.
This is not frustration.
So the director of utilities will not come here to speak about planning and zoning. So there's no reason to ask me questions about utilities.
Sure there is.
Just like the lady who's worried about the injection wells. I'm not the state or the feds. That's their purview. I'm sticking to what I do.
It is, but you made that comment in public. So therefore, you didn't just say,
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Thank you.
Correct?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So if somebody comes in and wants to put a big subdivision in,
They'll follow a process.
and then how much say do we have in that?
If you show up to a meeting, you have as much say as you would like in 3 minutes.
And how much can we actually get done?
That's up to you.
No, it's not, it's up to the council. In the end, it's up to the council, correct? The piece of property down here that Sterling is advertising, if you go on their website, they're already advertising it as zoned for commercial and subdivision. It's not. So how are they already doing? I know it's not, I know you have no control over that. But it's just, suspect that they are already advertising this as already zoned for commercial. Is it? It's not. L1 is not automatically zoned for commercial, correct?
I can tell you right now, no one is not zoned for commercial.
And once again, I just want to ask you again, so L1 does not automatically mean that all of the regulations, codes, whatever you call it, in the UDC apply. They don't, those aren't a guarantee.
I'm looking at the attorneys. I'm not following your line of questioning.
Well, what I read is that since we're under L1, that, and it says in those 400 pages in there, if I read it correctly, that the UDC is basically applies to any L1, which is the subdivisions and all the other mess that goes with it.
So, if I think I'm following you, so if someone has notwithstanding this plan, but in general, if somebody has 100 acres and they have L1 zoning and they want to come do a subdivision, then rules and regulations of the Unified Development Code would take, of that development.
Right, I understand that, that's speaking about the trees and all of that. My question is, it's easier to get that passed, rezoning because of this? It just.
I think you would come to a planning zoning commission meeting or a zoning commission meeting on the first Tuesday of the month, and the council chambers at 6 o'clock, you can see how it goes. Or actually, you can watch one on YouTube. Is it easy? Sometimes. I mean, look, we have 10 cases average a month.
So
7 of them are easy, 3 of them controversial.
This is my last question. So if this gets delayed, we're talking about delaying something, I'm not positive what it is, for 6 or 8 months, whatever the discussion was. Exactly, are we delaying the implementation of the UDC?
No, the Unified Development Code was adopted and it's been implemented since August 2024.
Okay, and so, and that's all the town centers.
It has nothing to do with this. No, that's not in the Unified Development Code. You didn't read that in those 400 pages.
I read a lot of different documents.
I hear you.
So I could be confused.
I hear
A lot of stuff.
you. Yeah, so we don't currently allow for those uses in the Unified Development Code. What L1 is permitted uses are, that's what the permitted uses are. That's the best I can say.
I think what Sandy may have been going for was the overlays,
Gotcha.
which is what you're talking about. Now, something I'd like you to clarify is the means of notification, other than you posting online or maybe sending mail. How do residents find out if something's happening? You said there's 4 methods.
So honestly, the best way to find out what's going on in your community, if you're worried about what's taking place and what development will take place, read the agendas and the staff reports of the zoning commission, which is the first Tuesday of the month, and the planning commission is the second Tuesday of the month. The staff reports come out 1 week before that. They're all on our website. I would encourage y'all to read those monthly because, again, I mean, there's no way I can notify every single person by a postcard of every single development, of every single zoning change that's coming through in St. Tammany Parish. It's easy to go to the website and look at something that's affecting you and your community or something nearby.
Push us the website now, and we'll make sure it's on there. I promise you that.
I have a question. When did Folsom become the gold standard?
It's not a gold standard. It's just
You're referencing it as, you said Tallahassee and Bush are going to have town centers, but you're referencing Folsom, am I correct?
So
we don't want to live in Folsom.
So as a
we want to live in Folsom. The Tallahassee don't want to live in Folsom, and the people in Bush don't want to live in Folsom. That's the point.
Folsom was used as an alternate or a look-alike for what it could be. It's not saying you want it, okay? It's just saying, right. If you don't want a town center, there's another option, something like Folsom. If you don't want Folsom, then there's not an option.
What's behind Folsom? Then you talking about Madisonville? Are we gonna be like Madisonville after that?
No,
We
sir.
don't want that. We like what we have here. Give me a round of applause.
If I could for just a second. My name is Vincent Wynn. I'm here at the request of Ms. Tanner. She asked me to come. I'm actually the village's son's attorney. And one of the things we had to have with the village and the councilman and the mayor was a reality of a road that is 4 lanes coming through your community that is going to get developed. It's coming, guys. You can try and stop it. You can only stop it for so long. I have 2 hats. I'm a lawyer as well, obviously, and I do subdivisional development for people around the community. St. Tammany, Tangipahoa Parish, all over. If you have no regulations, which currently you're falling under the rules of the parish, it is a developer's dream. Because they can come here and do whatever they want because they know they can get the votes on the council because Ms. Cheryl is 1 vote. I'm just telling you, one of the things we had to discuss at Sun, we put a moratorium in. Thankfully, Ms. Cheryl also agreed to put a moratorium around us. As a result, we are putting in ordinances because guess what? We have no rules in Sun. Zero. We have 1 house per acre. So if you want to come in and do something else, you can take a 100-acre piece and put in 100 homes, which is what you can do currently in the areas that y'all are living. I just want to let you know, these folks are here to help you, and I'm not affiliated with them. Listen to what I'm telling you. I am often adverse to them. I sue them constantly to get my stuff done. If you don't fix it and figure out a way to make sure you have some rules, more so that are with the current parish, the development is coming. I have personally been contacted by several developers, some of which are huge, that are very much aware of this. We stopped them in Sun for a bit. We're going to have to allow some. It's coming. You can't completely eliminate people's rights to property. It's just not how it works. The problem is you got to make sure whatever you do is compatible with the community, what people want. So what I'm trying to tell you is don't fight the change, adapt, get it to what you want, and make sure that you're protected. If you don't, and you tell Ms. Cheryl to pull it, which is what you just said earlier, everybody clap, pull it. And she's told me she'll pull it. She'll pull it. You're not protected at that point. Listen to what I'm telling you. I have several developers who want to put over 2,000 homes on this corridor right now. If you don't put some controls in this, it is going to be a free-for-all, and it is going to look like 190. I live in Walheim. I got 80 acres. I get it. I want to keep my rural way of life as well. But you better start thinking about how we protect that, because it's going to change. So don't just say, hey, this is something they were trying to sneak, and I'm going to tell Ross, they're terrible at telling the community as to what they're doing. They just are. But they give you an opportunity to come up here and fix it and to make sure that what you want is what you want. They're not trying to sneak anything. I'm telling you, they're not. Did they tell you how they should have? Probably not. They didn't follow the law.
Okay, thank you.
But listen, you've got to do something to protect your community. I'm telling you.
All this is lawyer talk. Enough.
What's that? Well, I have no idea about dispensaries. But I can tell you, if the DSLDs come in, which they're looking at property right now, it's going to be very hard to stop them unless you have some controls in place, because the parish allows it currently.
Will we have access to PowerPoint after this? Whatever y'all can. Okay. And then also, what is the 10% that you agree with? You say quite a few times you don't agree with 90%. And it sounds like the other 10 is still town center development, so what's the 10% you're voting for?
So the 10% that we probably need to work on, because again, town center ideas float out the window, and we had to read that some time ago. Again, a main street, something around the intersection now, that a 20-mile-long highway was cut through, and people are living adjacent to it. And I know that these areas allow the people that live next to the highway to get the rumbles of the car all the time, So people who live adjacent to the highway, it's loud. Typically, you're not going to get residential development next to those intersections. It's going to be commercial.
So what's the 10% you agree with?
That there needs to be a limited amount of commercial development by the intersections. And what that plays out, what that looks like, is going to be more of a Main Street idea, and what the rural character of what you think of 50, 100 years ago on the main street, not a town center.
Check, anybody hear me? All right, my name is Ben, I'm from Bush. I live on Watts Thomas, and I don't really have a question, I just kind of really have more statement for you guys. A little bit of food for thought on your drive home. If the whole point is to improve our community and help us out, when y'all built that road, I got a 14-foot levee in the back of my yard. Watts Thomas is underwater. If we wanted to take care of the community, how about we fix that first before we start looking at blowing this whole thing up? I mean, take care of the people at the little level. And honestly, I really don't even need an answer. I just want y'all to think about that on your drive home.
I think it'd be good to address this a little bit.
Yeah. If you have a problem, I have home phone, cell phone, and an email. Let me know your problem. I'll get someone out there to look at it.
it's not a complaint for me, it's for the entire road.
Well,
That's the community that we are talking about rezoning. Take care of them first.
Let me give
Before we even think about it.
let me give you some
That's all I
history.
have, thank you.
Let me give you some history on Highway 3241. Okay, as most of you know, a long time ago, it was called I-60. 60 Rayburn wanted a road from Washington Parish to the interstate. And that's what he got, to get there as fast as he could. The parish had no control over DOTD. They have made my life miserable since they started building that road. They have cut off our parish roads, they have destroyed our parish roads, they have built up, and every time we call them, they say, handle it yourself, okay? I mean, it has been a nightmare, but that was the problem. It's not our design. Would I have had it? No. It is not an ideal road, and it's hurting the people of this parish. But unfortunately, the state did not see that, and there was a mandate that they had to do this road. So there's your history of this road and how much input. I called them constantly. They tore up one of our main roads. It's going to cost the parish almost $1.5 million to fix that road.
Taxpayer money.
Right. Because the state said, we told them they could go on that road. And I said, but you don't have the authority. And they said, we can do whatever we want to. So yes, it's going to take.
What road? What road?
No, that's the Railroad Avenue. Railroad Avenue, they brought those 18-wheelers through there, and they destroyed it, and I could not get them off of it. This road has been a nightmare, and I'm not by it. I can imagine the people that's by it. But if you have problems, you need to contact me. I will get a foreman out there and see. If I don't know your problem, I can't fix it. Like I say, I have an email, a home phone, and a cell phone. I may not call you back that day, but I will get back in touch with you on your problems. And I think most of the people I've dealt with knows me and knows that I will do that. Okay?
So I have a statement and a question. The statement is, we're not naive when we saw that road come in. All right? But it's not 190. That I-12 dead and in bush. And it's got chemicals off of that. You look at I-12, what happens off of that? 190. We're sitting on I-12. We're not sitting on 190. Okay, the question is this, February, coming up to the vote. Is that going to be the environmental and the overlay? Or are you canceling the entire thing?
So what we're going to bring to the commission in February is the corridor enhancement area, which is in Lacombe, in District 7. The environmentally sensitive and the town centers will not be on the...
So we're shut down for now.
Yes. Well, the corridor enhancement. The corridor enhancement. Wait, what? For district cities? Yeah.
My name is Drew Hale. The lawyer gentleman, he said that there are already developers lining up and they want this land and there's nothing stopping them. Why haven't they pulled the trigger?
Oh, they will. Great question. Because they haven't finished the road.
Let me give y'all a prime example. In Folsom, excuse me, in Folsom, there was a case where there was a developer that wanted to come in. I think it was on the corner of 1078 and 190, and the council denied it. Okay, now keep in mind, the developer had followed all of the rules that was required. They sued us. We lost. We lost that case because they followed the rules, and although the council voted it down, they sued us. They're building it, and we're out all the court costs. So it is a very tricky situation.
Don't make so many rules and they don't have to work.
All right, I want to lone voices and do we need the guardrails. I'm also one of the people that has been a proponent of option 2. We need something. Can I get some kind of promise from you guys that you will work with our citizens group directly to get this thing in place that's beneficial to the people in this area and for Texas, so that we have a more direct line deal?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
This pertains to what the lawyer was referring to and how we need to put in guardrails. Now, my issue is that, and I understand that it's getting pushed to vote, but the guardrails being 5-story apartment buildings, essentially, I'm looking at less than 100 yards out my front window. And that's a nightmare scenario for me to imagine something like that. You know, I moved out here so where we can have some peace. And I guess I would like for y'all to understand that. I do want to put protections in to stop overdevelopment. But I think that we also need to take into consideration that the people who might live closer to those nodes might not like that much development.
We agree with you.
Okay.
So yeah, well stated and right there with you.
All right.
We have last question with this lady right here, so we're about to end.
My main question is, what can we do as a community to work with y'all, to protect us, and I think the business are gonna come, protect us from all this low-income housing, these 4- and 5-story apartment buildings that we're talking about, and that's what I'd like to know, where do we go from here to protect us from having all these multi-projects, if you want to call it?
Yeah, so we've heard the concerns, getting back to.
That's what I'm wondering, where do we do, what's our next step to protect us from that?
So definitely, so we heard those concerns back in August, in October, November, and December, and now. So that town center idea, the overlay, is off the table. So moving forward, I think as lady just mentioned, just a second ago, yeah, we'll work with this group, with those nodes that you're speaking about, for the next few months, through the summer, we'll make sure we get it right, make sure the protections are there.
I mean, you have to get the business that's coming. We don't want all these big subdivisions that we have in the buildings.
Yeah. So currently about 90% of the zoning in the study area is L1.
We're not protected.
You are in that they have to make an application for a zoning change. So that's when I say, look at the zoning, it takes you 5 minutes, go online, no, I'm saying go online every month, look at the zoning commission agenda, see if there's anything in your area, if there is, like, what? I don't know, I have a great website now, that keeps everybody informed, so that, what came out of this is pretty awesome.
In reality, that's one vote against the rest of them.
That is the reality. But better informed than after than not being there at all. So if the commission and council sees a group like this, it works.
That's what we want to do more than anything, I think, to protect this from having these massive subdivisions.
Can't stress enough. Take 5 minutes, go to the website.
There's nothing we can do, but nothing we can do now to prevent that.
That's what we're working towards. That's what we're working towards.
All right.
Think of something else.
You answered the question, how can we better protect ourselves?
Yep.
I mean, if we can't better protect ourselves in our own area, then we're last.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess we need to step up and be part of this.
No, I think the team on this is going to be very active, even more active community against the message out. Let's just make sure that we're all on the same page with that message is.
And those of you that may still have some questions, just know that we'll be online and we'll get your questions and we'll stay in touch with you. But we could be here all night, so.
My name is Gerald Bryan. I've been a resident of Bush for 37 years. My concern is a little different, but I'm still concerned about the zoning. I watched after Hurricane Katrina, and the son attorney probably knows about it, who lives in Walmart. After Hurricane Katrina, they created a dumping zone on Highway 1083 on the north side, right in Walton by the Walton School. And they dumped everything from Mandeville to Covington. There's no telling what they dumped there. And as of today, the parish owns the property. Now, my question is, what, if anything, can we do to protect Bush, God, forbid another catastrophic hurricane, from being the dumping grounds of Mandeville, Covington, and the outlying area?
Sir, after the old racetrack on 36, oh, you should have seen that pile out there. It literally was mounted to the floor.
What's the difference between, you call it like environmentally sensitive areas around, Bush, the center, but what about the center? I mean, shouldn't that be just as environmentally safe as everything around it? And now that the parish owns the old dump in Walton, what do they do with it? How long are they going to own it? Can they sell it to developers later on down the road?
So again,
Because these are questions that we need to know.
that's a great question to email in. Again, we have environmental services, and that's the purview that works with the state and the feds. I know that they do something, but I can't expound on that. I don't know what it is. I'm not
It
saying
seems to me like it'd be a perfect alley for a developer eventually to just walk in.
I wouldn't think so.
I would think it would need certain zoning to do that, and there was one, he mentioned the racetrack. They tried to put a dump at the racetrack 4 years ago, and it was defeated. I defeated it. Hey, find an area more suitable in District 6. We are not for dumps. So, hopefully, if we get wind of anything like that, then we will notify you. I need a couple, I think I have Pam, I know I have yours. I will try and go through the planning and zoning agenda every month, and if I see something, I will send it. Okay? If it's District 6, I will send it. If you tell me it don't apply, that's fine. I don't get the package right then, but if it's on the zoning, at least I can reach out to Aaron and Ross and say, hey, tell me what this is and let me send it out. Okay? If there's another point of entry or whatever, Brett, Pam, just let me know and I'll do that because I go to the Bush Community Center and Food Bank for their events. I like those. So just let me know that.
Okay, we have one more question.
One more question. It's about infrastructure. It's been proven, studies have been done, that high-density populations cost you $1.50 to $1.15 to implement them. What are you going to do about infrastructure as you're looking at all this zoning? You're going to widen the road? Brewster Road over in Madisonville is the exact same width as it was in 1970 when the only thing back there was a dump. Now there's 10,000 houses back there. So what, y'all can't pass a law that says that developers have to pay for the infrastructure when they want to come in here and build and not leave us hanging with everything? I'd like this looked at.
Sounds great. All right, with that, I want to thank everybody for this meeting, and I think, like I said, we're here to come in and fight and change everybody's mind. I'm glad that we had a conversation. I'm glad this group came out of it. So, before everybody leaves,
Yeah. Y'all, we got one thing I wanted to do before we leave. And so, just to let y'all know, I think the top two things that our community has been the biggest problem with was what I said earlier, is that the notice that only a very few people knew about if this was going to happen, and we all feel that if something's going to happen in our area, we should be the ones to try to control that and not somebody on Coop Drive. And then the number two thing would be when things are fixing to happen, we would like to be involved in the process.
That's easy now.
So I'm saying, we have RRI that's going to be here for the long haul. RRI is going to be here forever, guys. We're going to be watching and making sure. You've got my number. You can call me anytime.
I've got your email.
Right. All right, now the last thing we want to do before we go, guys, I wanted to do something that's real important. This is what RRI is all about. And I wanted to make a proposal for y'all as well. We have an individual in our community. Hey, y'all listen up, listen up. Y'all, we have an individual in our community that reached out to RRI to help our food bank. The food bank there in Bush is a vital part for the community, and they're struggling right now. They've lost some, I think, if I remember right, one of your providers is not providing the food that they used to provide, so now they're having to try to supplement that by finding other ways to get it or go pay for it. Stuff like eggs and meat and cheeses, they're not getting that anymore. So we had a community member in District 6 that reached out to RRI and wanted to help the community. So Pam, on behalf of RRI, we would like to present you with a check for $500 to help the community, to help the food bank.
But I want to thank all of you. This is just another example of how we all work together for the betterment of our community. And I thank you.
And I wanted to charge you, if you can too, that food bank is a vital part of our community. If you can help, we've got a way to do that over here on the table. I want to charge the Cheryl help. That food bank needs help. That food bank needs help. So if you can do that, we would appreciate it. Again,
Pam, tell me the amount, was it $100,000? We gave, the parish gave the food bank out of some funds that had to be distributed to the community. Last year and the year before, 2 years, we gave the food bank $100,000. Absolutely. I wish I would say more, but Pam has this little trick. I'll tell you what she does. She invites me up there to an event, and it's got food, and she feeds me, and I give her a check. So she knows how to work it, okay? I am fully supportive. She has seen me there many a time. Great operation.
Again, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We showed what District 6 is about. Great meeting tonight. We had a super time. We got some information done that needed to be said. Y'all showed out and showed up and showed out tonight. I appreciate your professionalism and making this a respectful meeting. Drive safe on the way home.
Well, what'd you think, Rex?
I think it went great, man. We had a great turnout. Everything looked good. We got some answers for some questions that we had, and looks like they now know that we are serious about what we're going to do, and they'll be looking for us to in the future so that we can control. I think they see now that we want to have a say in what happens in Bush and Tally Sheep, and with the website, my information's on there. You can go look at it. They can contact me. So our steering committee is going to be, we're going to be watching those meeting plans every month to make sure that District 6, they're not trying to slip something through the cracks and get something by on us. And I think that resonated tonight with the council.
Thanks, Rick. Hey, Councilwoman, you got anything, last words?
I didn't say nothing.